What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about altcoins today. Specifically, we're going to use the others chart, which is effectively our altcoin index, to gauge where we are in this crypto market right now, what we have to look forward to over the coming weeks and months, or maybe look to safeguard against. We'll see. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Okay, here it is. Here we are on the 20th day of December. 4 hours, 38 minutes left in this day. The total others market cap sitting at about $200 billion. Nice psychological level for support, right? The others market cap is comprised of the top 125 coins in the crypto market space, right? So if we're looking at this here, the top 125, excluding the top 10. So it doesn't include the top 10 coins by market cap. It includes every other coin outside the top 10. Up to the 125th coin. Okay, so this is effectively our SPX or CPX 125. Mine is the top 10. $200 or $200 billion right now. We look at the daily time frame and we can see that the RSI is beat up. It's very beat up. We've actually been moving sideways, and we've been below the 50 here for quite some time. Right, we've been doing stuff like this for quite some time. The last time that we saw readings like this was all the way back here, right? It's very, very similar stuff. You can see back here, and this was our low point in April, right? The whole market back in April 7th was the low. I remember we had a nice rally going into really the end of Q3 there. And then Q4 was just abysmal, absolutely abysmal. But we're showing similar readings here on our RSI that we saw back here. Now what I want to do real quick is I want to measure from like this low point in the RSI to the point at which the price actually started to move up. Hold on. Let's see. So this low point here, is that right? I think so. To when the price bottomed out. That was about 111 days. Okay, some 110 days, something like right there. Yeah, 110 days. So from the point that the RSI really got below the 50, interacted with the oversold area, and then you found your low. Okay. Here, if we were to look at that as well, I would say we started interacting with the oversold zone here. Right? You pumped all the way up to the 60 here. You pumped all the way up to the 60 here. That's where we started the measurement from before. That's where we're going to start here. So let's start it right here. Not over here, but right here. Measurement right there. So 110 days last time. If we do 110 days this time, we still have more consolidation to go. That's not necessarily exciting, but it should be. At the same time, it should be. Sure, maybe the rest of December we're still in this area figuring ourselves out. But guys, this ends right here. This is like the middle of January. January could be when we either find our low in the markets, or when we find a point in the RSI and the price at which we start to rally. Right? It's likely going to be January. And I say likely. This is just, agreeing with what we did last time. It doesn't mean we have to do that exact thing now. Really, if we're looking at this, if we're really looking at it objectively, we're very near. Instead of 110 days, right now we're at 89, 88 days. Any day now, between now and the next 20 to 40 days, we could be seeing a huge reversal in the markets, if we do the same thing that we did back here. The stochastics have dropped down, they've reset. We've got this kind of trend, which is odd, but lower highs and lower lows down here. But we do have a bullish posturing here, bouncing off the oversold zone. The MACD even looks similar back here, right here, as it did back here. Watch, I'm not even going to look at the price, and we're going to come up with the exact same thing. Look, here, from a low point to the high point, your bearish momentum was decaying, and then right here, when your bullish momentum started to really build, that was April. Look at this low. That was April 7th right there. That was literally the low, and we started to move higher. That was when things started to get good. April to May was really good for altcoins, and we can see that here in the MACD. We're doing the same thing now, right? We've got these higher lows. We had these higher lows over here. Bearish divergence was dying off. Bearish divergence is dying off. Or, sorry, not divergence. Bearish momentum. Bearish momentum is dying off. We're literally at the same level in the oscillators that we were here on April 7th, which was the low for the whole crypto space. We might have just found the low. And again, we haven't seen as much consolidation in form of the RSI. Maybe we found the low here and we still have some consolidating to do, but maybe that's the low nonetheless. And then January comes along when we pump. We really get some voluptuous upside. Maybe not exactly like this, but to some degree, something nice should be coming our way in Q1. And I would imagine April's low here to this high that we had in May, I would imagine that the low that we have here, and this very well could be the low, or whatever low we form, the move up will be bigger and faster than this move. I would assume it is. Okay. Looking at the the weekly time frame here. The weekly time frame, if we look at this, you can see that you are, first off, in a very large phase of consolidation. Second off, you're at a low point here where every single time, if you had bought really over the past few years, since we've been in this range, since like 2024, if you bought in this range on any altcoin across the board, on average, you typically did very well for yourself. We're in that area now. And people are intimidated. There's more fear here than there was at this low than there was at this low. We have higher levels of fear in our fear and greed index now than we had at either of these lows, and this is just a slightly higher low, but basically in the same area, right? I very much believe that we're going to break out. I very much believe that we're going to see some stupendous price action in quarter one. Now, will quarter one of 2026 break us out of this zone completely, or will it just take us up to the high point? Do we consolidate a little bit in Q2, and then at the end of Q2, Q3, we start to run? Maybe. Maybe it takes longer than maybe it takes a longer time than just the end of Q1 to break above these highs. But regardless, I don't care if we move up from here, or I don't care if we move above these highs and we stop at these resistance areas, or if we break through the zone altogether. It'd be nicer if we broke through the zone altogether, but I don't know if we're quite ready for that. Let's focus on the task ahead, which is to find resistance probably at prior resistance points, right? Within this whole range, we've been finding support at the same areas. If we move up, we might find some resistance here. Even if we do break out higher, we might find some resistance and consolidate. So with that in mind, and again, my assumption that this move will likely be bigger and faster than this move was here, I want to put a retracement on here. Let's use our Fibonacci tool from a high to a low. And we can see that, from here, from a high to a low, you went right up through your 0.5. You're at your 0.069 bouncing right now. That's not a fib. The 0.069 is not a fib, but it's still somewhat of a significant area sometimes. Looking at this level here, I would think that we do just push all the way up to our golden ratio. We'll probably see a nice 50 to 70% surge across the board for altcoins between now and Q1. Now, that might not be too exciting. Maybe, and I shouldn't say 50 to 70%. That's the low end. Maybe we see something on the lines like an 80 to 130% surge between now and Q1. Maybe we do kick off alt season. Maybe we pick up the pace and it's April and the average, the others chart is at new all-time highs altogether. That would imply that the average altcoin has seen something on the lines of a 3x by the time Q1's over. Maybe that's exactly what we see, or more. But just trying to stay level-headed, trying not to get too excited, right? And just understanding that even getting to the golden ratio here at some point in Q1 would likely be a faster movement than what we saw here already. That's spectacular in itself. I wouldn't be surprised if we got above this high. Personally, my expectation is that by the end of Q1, the others chart will be above this high here. So I'm personally expecting, at a minimum, the average altcoin should see anything from a 56% to a 68% pump between now and the next 3 months. Potentially, though, that's the minimum target. Potentially, I would actually expect that we see something on the lines of like a 85% to 100% pump across the board for the average altcoin, something around like a 2x for the average altcoin between now and the end of Q1. Just hearing it out loud makes me think that I'm not bullish enough. I mean, maybe we really do see higher prices, but I want to be conservative. Being overly bullish has only burned us over this past year, so let's be conservative and be pleasantly surprised. We were robbed last year. Maybe we'll be gifted this year, but let's be gifted in a surprising way. Let's not expect it, right? That's more fun anyways. We look at the weekly time frame. We look at the RSI. The RSI is right at the oversold zone. You guys, we're down this week 1.6% right now. We've got 1 day left in this week. Sundays are typically good to us. They have been kind to us since July. Typically, they are kind to us. All we need to do is move up 1.6% between now and the end of tomorrow. We have 1 day and 5 hours left, essentially. And with that, we will get a weekly close right at our oversold area. You see here, and if we close here or lower and then we bounce, fine. It's not like that's been bad for us before. I just think it would look really, really good if we could close and bounce right. If we just had like a precise reaction right off this oversold zone, it would look spectacular. I think it would. And who cares what I think, but if we move up a little bit, we'll get that. If we can close this week green, we'll get that. So that's a nice little goal to have, 1.7% to the upside. If we can close this week green across the board, if all coins have a good day tomorrow, we'll have a very powerful signal bouncing off the oversold zone on the weekly RSI. And on the stochastics, as well. In fact, we don't normally bounce from this area, but if we bounce from this area, the last time that we did, guess when that was? That was our COVID crash lows. right there. And we went on a spree from March until May. From March of 2020 until May of 2021, we went on an altcoin spree. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I've been seeing on X.com, well, a lot of stuff about the Jake Paul fight, yeah. But I've been seeing, for some reason today, do you guys ever notice that things on X, it's like there's like a phase, a fad. Every account starts to say the same thing for some reason. Today I noticed a bunch of accounts saying, people are saying we didn't have an alt season, but you're just telling me that you missed it or that you just didn't invest in the right coins. Earlier I saw a slide, like a slideshow where it was showing Giga Chad, Brett, where it was showing all these meme coins pumping. It's like alt season happened, you just weren't there. That's BS. That's BS, guys. Alt season didn't happen. We can see it in the charts. This was not alt season. Absolutely not. This was not alt season. This was not alt season. These are altcoin runs. They were nice little rallies, but this is not alt. This for a straight, understand, right? March 2020 until May of 2021. This is alt season, right? 14 months of consistent growth that only got faster before it ended. This is not. This is pathetic. We have not seen an alt season. We have not seen it yet. There has not been an alt season. Sure, some random meme coins pumped, but that's been a thing that we've seen since last cycle. Random coins, even in the bear markets, they pump. We didn't have an alt season in the bear market, but there were still meme coins that pumped in the bear market, right? We're not daft enough to pretend that there was an alt season. There's no alt season. If anybody out there is hitting you with smart ass remarks saying that we had an alt season, you're just not investing in the right coins, they're coping. They're just coping themselves, right? Because coins that got front ran, that got sniped at low prices and pumped for 2 weeks and then offloaded on everybody and rug pulled, that's not alt season. That's not alt season. This is my third cycle. I've seen an alt season or two. That's not alt season, you guys. I think that we could be getting set up for alt season here. And if we are, again, just looking at this, I got on a whole different thought there. But just looking at this with the stochastics, we're at the same level that we bounced from back at the COVID crash. Just imagine a year and 2 months goes by from now. It's 2027 Q1, and we get this. Like this is the environment that we're in. The RSI is at very similar levels. The stochastics are at very similar levels. The MACD is different, but as time goes on, you know, things get a little bit bigger, right? These histograms look a lot bigger here than they did back here, but it's all relative. Like if we just zoom in here and we look at it back here, we put on the automatic look maybe like this. You know, they look just as big back here, but whenever you have all these, they look super small. I would even say that what we're doing here is pretty similar to what we did back here, back in 2020, right? You had this kind of sideways MACD. You went below the zero, up above the zero, went below the zero one last time. This was your March, April COVID crash low, and then boom, then you rallied, right? It's the same thing here, just on a larger scale, right? You had your volatility, you went below your low, you went above your low, you went back below your low, boom. COVID crash rally. It's almost like the same exact thing. It's just the histograms, again, they're a little bit thicker here. And that happens, right? Especially with these like log scale charts. Anyways, not that this is in log, just like these charts that deserve to be in log because they're so freaking crazy. This is alt season, right? This is alt season. This is alt season. This is not alt season. Alt season has not happened yet, right? Alt season, and to further confirm that alt season hasn't happened yet, but it's likely going to happen, you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? Where's the alt season? Alt season looks like this. Alt season looks like this. Where this is not alt season. This is not alt season. We have not had an alt season yet. If people are getting excited over Brett, over cheap tricks like Brett, Giga Chad, Fart Coin, stuff like that, that's not alt season, guys. That's just people are bored. Meme coin. We had a meme coin market rally, and that was nice, but that was about the only thing in crypto that pumped, right? Alt season, everything pumps. And everything will pump. I think there's going to be a lot of people, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, there's going to be a lot of people with egg on their face or who admit they're wrong, or maybe they won't admit they're wrong, but they'll know they're wrong, they just won't admit it, that every altcoin is going to pump. Right? And maybe not everyone. I'm not like, don't be so literal. Yes, there are millions of cryptos that exist because of all the scams and memes and wannabe. Anybody can create a token these days. There's tens of thousands of tokens being promoted or created every single week. Not every coin is going to pump. But alt season is your top 200, top 500 coins. All of them pump. 90% of them pump. We haven't seen that happen yet. It's coming. It's loading. the indicators in the charts look just like they did back here. Okay, we're at the low point here in this range, in this consolidation phase. Throughout our whole time since really 2024 began, if you bought altcoins when the others chart was down here, you're doing very good. You're outperforming the market. Most people bought up here and most people are selling down here. If you're buying down here, you're winning. And we're down here right now. This is a perfect opportunity. I don't really have anything else I want to say. All I'll leave off with is talking about where I inevitably believe we'll go, whether it's at some point in 2026 or maybe it is Q1 of 2027. Maybe this cycle does push into 2027. I don't know. Nobody knows, man. And yes, the halvings and all that, I get it. I know. But just we're in a weird cycle, guys. We are really, unless we're in a bear market right now, the 4-year cycle's broken. Therefore, we absolutely could continue to rally. And I think it makes sense. Either that or we're going to have a bear market while M2 liquidity, global liquidity is going up, while the business cycle's kicking off, while crypto-friendly regulations get put in place and all these kind of developments happen in 2026 that open up the doors for institutions to invest in crypto. We're going to dump. We're going to have a bear market. I just don't see it happening, man. I don't. Midterms are coming up. The president's probably going to want to have a good, healthy economy and market to help out with his cause, right? That's a very common thing that happens around midterms, no matter who the political affiliation is, whether it's red or blue, right? I'm just saying, are we going to dump in the face of that? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Whether you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, can we all agree that he has an ego? And he probably doesn't want to be remembered as the president that had the worst economy or the worst market environment. He wants to be remembered for a good market environment, good economy. Whether you like him or not, you'd have to be pretty silly to not admit that that's what he wants, right? And if that's what he wants, somebody who's got most of his wealth probably in crypto at this point, and his family's wealth in crypto at this point, he's probably going to see or do his part to help the markets achieve greatness. And my thoughts are that by the end of this cycle, sometime in 2026, if not Q1 2027, yes, as late as Q1 2027, as early as maybe Q2 or Q3 of 2026, if not Q4 of 2026, we should see the overall crypto market, I think, strive for this 2272 target, all the way up at $6 trillion. I think that's where we're going to go. We haven't seen an alt season in a while. If we were to replicate what we saw last cycle, it wouldn't quite get us there, but we kind of had a weak cycle last cycle. But from here, I guess actually it does. It does get us, maybe not from the low. From the low, it doesn't quite get us to the 2272, but it's pretty damn close. And we're starting from a higher price here. I would think that we see a $6 trillion market cap or higher. Again, this is just the line that I took from the COVID crash to the high, right? We take that from our current price levels, which are very similar on our weekly indications. We have the same readings on our stochastics, on our RSI, and even the MACD that we did back here. If we saw this same type of movement, it could be here. I mean, I guess that would be July 2027. But I don't know if it would happen, if it would take that long or if it would happen earlier. I would think that it happens earlier, that we get to this 6 trillion or higher level, which implies then that the average altcoin, right, this is what alt season looks like, where the average altcoin in the top 125 sees a 30x or more, 32x or more, right? That's the expectation. That's 100% the expectation. If you can't get behind that, then let's settle for the golden ratio. It's way less, but if you can't get behind that, at least get behind an 8.4x, right? If we see new all-time highs, we'll at least hit the golden ratio, but I thoroughly believe with how much consolidation we've done here, we're not going to get a weaker rally. We're going to see a very exceptional rally, my friends. We've got more consolidation here than we did at the bear market lows of our last cycle. We've got more consolidation here than we did after COVID. After the COVID crash, not after COVID, but even during COVID. And we've got such a more fundamentally regulated market that is beneficial to crypto. All these things that are coming out that are beneficial to crypto in 2026 and the macro economy in itself. I can't see a scenario where we see a lesser alt rally than what we saw last cycle. I can't see a scenario where we did. But if we do, even then, we see a 14 to an 18x across the board, we see an 8x across the board. With the hand we've been dealt over the past year, I have a feeling everybody's going to be okay with that. However, I don't think it's going to be an 8x. I don't think it's going to be a 14 to a 17x. I think the whole damn market's going to see a 30x or more, and I mean the whole damn market is going to see a 30x or more. As long as you're invested in like something in the top 200 or top 500, I think that's a safe bet. If you're investing in random small meme coins, you might see more growth than that. You might not. You never know, right? Like the low market cap coins are a bit more of a gamble, but that's why you put less money on them. They could gain a lot. 30x might be cute to a market cap of like $2 million. You could see a 300x with something like that, but it's not guaranteed, right? Lower market cap coins aren't always the most reliable, whereas the coins in the top 200, the higher market caps in the space, on average should see something greater than a 30x, at least from their current valuations. I've got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.